Welcome to Sports Charlotte. I am your host, Ashley Mahoney, and joining us today is first-time guest Charlotte 49ers senior center back, Patrick Hogan. Patrick, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Absolutely. And this is, like we were saying, this is something that we've asked Coach Kevin Langan several times. He's a very familiar guest on this podcast, but first time for you. So how is everything going after being able to play the first match back, a 0-0 draw against Duke at Duke? Over 400 days since the last match. How's everything going so far?
It's going great. We were just really excited to get out there for the first time. Our goal was just, get out and play. We had one match before that exhibition against Liberty, and then the three other exhibitions we had got canceled because of COVID. So we were just itching to get out on the field and play a competition against a great opponent and to get a good result, which I thought we did.
Of course, the novelty about this season is that the season was pushed from the fall to the spring because of COVID. So everyone who follows college soccer, follows the 49ers, they know, this already would have happened. This would be the time, for spring training. So what was it like going through those months during the fall of just constant preparation? I know that Coach Langan spoke to it being a lot of individual development during that time period.
Yeah, it was tough. Usually the spring is geared towards helping the next lineup get ready for the fall and your individual goals. So having that pushed forward in the fall was definitely a different mindset that you had to take on. And it was just pushing yourself day in and day out, knowing that you weren't going to have games coming up anytime soon was probably the hardest part. But I thought me and a lot of the guys, all the guys actually, did really well pushing each other and making sure training standards stayed very high and the compete level stayed very high. That way we could keep improving every day.
And of course, it wasn't just a matter of keeping the standards high. It was a matter of keeping everyone safe. And, having no positive COVID tests over a number of weeks is tremendous for the program. So congratulations to you guys. But was that something where as a senior and a leader on this team, you kind of had to hone in on some of the younger guys? Like, yes, this is your college experience, but we have to keep it kind of in line, have to make sure that we're taking care of each other so that way we can continue to come out here and train?
Yes, it was definitely tough. I don't know if I could have been a freshman during this time period. They've really dealt really well with it. So we harped on them all day in and day out, making sure, the weekends come around, they're staying safe, they're staying away from people who aren't living the lifestyle we have to live. We kind of said we have to create our own bubble, like the terms, the MLS and NBA and all those teams created their own bubble. We had to create our own bubble, but it was harder for us because we still had to go on our day-to-day lives. We couldn't go to a hotel and quarantine away from everyone. So there were some freshmen that had to stay at home, live at home because they didn't live in the dorms. So they had to make sure that they were staying kind of away from their families, making sure they're doing everything right. And the people in the dorms, I mean, we would always harp on them. They can't take the elevators, only take the stairs, hand sanitizer all the time, mask on constantly, whether you're on campus or whether you're going to an apartment complex and you're just going to your room. So we harped on that a lot. And I think the guys did really well dealing with that. And you can see by the no positive cases that we've had so far.
And of course, having to take the stairs versus the elevator, I mean, it's just a little bit more, especially after, bringing all the weights out onto the field to create that gym atmosphere. It's like, all right, just did all the squats plus all the weight. Stairs, it's just a couple more stairs. But with everything, what did you see out of the freshmen? Was it a matter of helping them kind of assimilate faster? And that's something that you saw in the opener against Duke?
Yeah, so usually, unfortunately for the freshmen, but they usually get thrown in the deep end right away because we have games coming up. So they learn pretty fast what a college season is going to be like. And this was kind of the opposite. They came in the spring, basically the spring, but it was the fall. And it was a lot about improvement, working. So they were able to kind of assimilate with the group and kind of see where they're at compared to where they should be at or where they need to be at. And so they just put their head down and grinded this whole fall. And I think it's one thing playing. I mean, we hit high numbers when we play scrimmages, but it's another thing under the lights against a whole new opponent that you've never played against. It's definitely nerve wracking. I remember my first time going out there. I was extremely nervous. So I think these guys have handled it much better than I would have ever handled being a true freshman. So really big props to them.
So we're going to dive a little bit into your story now. And in 2016, you joined the program, graduated from Charlotte Catholic. So Charlotte is home for you. And 2016, redshirt, 17, through now 2021, you have been a staple with this program. Why did you decide that you wanted to stay in the area and that you wanted to play for the 49ers?
Well, I knew Kev all throughout my high school academy days. I knew he was a great coach. I knew what he was about. Um, I knew he was very, hard and strict, really maximizing your potential. You couldn't go there and just go through the motions with Kevin Lang. And anyone who talks to him knows that he'll push you to your limits and then beyond some. So I knew going there, and they had a great program. They're top 20. We're top 15, top 10, top 20 every year. And then previous 4 years before that, they're in the national championship. So it's a high level Division I program and one of the best in the country. And I just wanted to see if I could compete with that. And I wanted to be on a team that was all about that.
And of course, you came in, and at the time, Callum Montgomery was part of this program as well, went on, was drafted by Dallas. And this seems to be a program that produces very strong caliber center backs. What has your journey been like in this position, or what are some areas that you're looking to kind of fine tune throughout your senior season?
Yes, so it was great working with Callum. I learned a lot working with beside him and under him my freshman year, learning from him, and currently Lukey Wachter, who was the fifth-year senior when I was a freshman. You can learn a lot just taking that redshirt year, what you should do off the field, let alone on the field, how you should hold yourself, different aspects of the game that that I did not know when I was playing in high school that you should really worry about. And then Kevin being an amazing coach, especially for defense. He played defense his whole career and defensive center mid. So he definitely knows what he's doing. So just taking in information from him all the time, trying to improve, has definitely helped my game. I think this season, it's kind of commanding the back line, helping out the guys in front of me and next to me to do the right things, encouraging constantly. Me and Kevin have been talking a lot about some of the Premier League captains who are able to nonstop encourage the whole game, 90 minutes. Just saying a good job goes a long way in the game for a player's confidence. And we want them to be confident on the ball and without the ball. So fine-tuning that for my game, I think, is the next step for me to help this team excel and succeed.
Is there anyone specifically whose game you're trying to emulate yours after?
It's a good question. When I'm watching soccer, I'm usually watching most like all the center backs, whoever's playing that game. But there is a player on Brighton for the Premier League. His name's Lewis Dunk. He's very simple. He takes defending to heart, which is kind of my strong suit. I'm not really the strongest ball playing center back. I can play, but my main threat and my expertise would be defending, and he's extremely simple on the ball and loves to defend, loves to put his body on the line, block shots, do everything he can to help his team win. And he's a very commanding center back, encourages everyone. And I kind of want to emulate my game after that.
Well, kudos for not saying the obvious names of, Virgil van Dijk pre-injury, and
Oh
no,
yeah.
no one wants to say Harry Maguire or Victor Lindelof right now. Not after a draw against West Brom over the weekend.
No, no.
That's
He prides himself on defending, so I love to see that. So.
Mhm. Well, what was the once upon a time moment? What are your earliest memories of playing the game?
Ooh, I remember my dad was my coach. I have a twin brother, and we since 5, 4, we loved playing soccer, and he took us to a YMCA Siski, I think it was called,
Mhm.
and he was the coach. And I remember we would go out there, and we just loved playing. And we actually did extremely well. We just kept moving up age groups, and it was just fun. I was actually a forward at the time, believe it or not. Loved scoring goals. It was just fun. It was carefree. Not that it's not carefree now, but um, it was extremely fun. And having your dad as a coach, he obviously would push us harder than most kids, which I think
Mhm.
definitely helped me in the long run.
I can definitely relate to that as someone who played for her dad for a number of years. And the way that you describe Coach Langen, I'm like, yep, that sounds like a benevolent dictator. Played for one, most of my life. But you mentioned that you have a twin brother. What is his name, and is he still playing as well?
His name's Michael Hogan. I call him Mike. He actually had 2 knee surgeries. Unfortunately, he actually tore his ACL, MCL, all the ligaments in 8th grade, um, playing basketball. And because he was so young, he wasn't able to get surgery because it would have affected his growth plate, and it just was like it couldn't happen. So he ended up having to wait, and that kind of like hurt his. He kept popping out and in and out of place, his knee, and it was just like a whole bad thing. So he plays with his friends sometimes, but it's no competitive um, game, I would say.
So that mantle's been carried by you for
Yeah.
all these years. And in high school, with of course, the notable clubs or the larger clubs in the area at the time, or of course, Charlotte Soccer Academy, especially with their facilities in the Pineville area, but as well as other clubs, Lake Norman, Discoveries, and so forth. So where did you play your academy games growing up?
I played at Charlotte Soccer Academy.
Okay. So that's, of course, a program that has gone on to produce, fellow players who will be joining the program. You will have gone on to bigger and better things. But what is next after, graduation is here, it's come and gone. What is next? What is the if we had a crystal ball? If you had a crystal ball, I wouldn't have said that we'd still be in quarantine of sorts,
Yeah.
yet here we are. So what does the hopeful future have on the horizon for you?
Um, I do want to play professional soccer, whether that's MLS or USL. Obviously I want to play MLS soccer. I want to play at the highest level can possibly play. Um, so I'm really looking forward to this season to help boost me to help eventually play in the MLS. And I'm not ready to hang up the boots yet. So I look forward to playing at the next level.
And of course, there's, well, you knew I was going to ask about this at some point with the, shall we call him a hometown hero? Would Brant be approving of that sort of
He's
moniker
from
for him?
Winston-Salem, Greensboro area, so I don't know if he's
So you would be the true hometown hero and be like, look,
happy.
everyone knows that he came in, he was announced as the third signing of Charlotte FC on his wedding day, no doubt, to former 49ers women's soccer player Rebecca Beatty, now Rebecca Bronico. But to be able to see that happen just down the road, and of course when he was drafted by Chicago a few years ago, was it like, all right, this is a player who's gone on, done it, and that's nothing new for this program. But to have him be the first to come in and sign with this club, which everyone has to wait until 2022. So kind of works out instead of them starting this season. Is that where your focus is on, of course, whichever opportunity presents itself, but would the dream be playing for the hometown club just minutes away from where you grew up?
Oh, it would be definitely a dream come true to play in my hometown, close to my parents, close to a lot of my friends, and previous coaches that have helped me get here. And obviously Kev, so he could give me a few pointers after every game, of course. No, it would be a dream come true, no doubt. And Brant, I know Brant's extremely happy. His home, Charlotte. He spent 4 years here helping the 49ers in this program. So definitely congrats to him, and I'm looking forward to watching him play.
Of course, there's something about you mentioned Luke Wechter as well as, Brant, Callum. This is a program that, players don't just come in and play a couple of seasons and head on their way into whichever professional level or league it happens to be. These are players who go through, get their degrees. Some go on to even get masters and so forth while they're in this process. Is that something that's kind of attractive about this program, saying, all right, you'll have that opportunity to play really high quality soccer, but you're also going to have the education side taken care of?
Oh, absolutely. That was another big thing. I mean, I feel like Charlotte and the 49ers and this whole school, we're a blue collar school is what we like to call ourselves. So um, we love to dig deep and work extremely hard. We might not, to the business world, 49ers might not be the big name, but our work ethic, it cannot be explained. We put our nose to the ground and we work. And I think that shows on the field, but that also shows in the classroom. We actually just got an award for having a 3.65 GPA among all the players on our team, highest male GPA. So we're extremely hardworking, and I think that shows in the classroom and on the field. And whether you want to play professional or you want to go in the business world, the work ethic that our culture provides and instills in each other, I think definitely shows later on in life.
So what are you studying while you're at Charlotte?
So I actually graduated, and currently in the master's program here. And
Congratulations.
thank you. I graduated last semester, and I'm currently in the data science and business analytics master's program.
So you're set either way, whether it happens to be, a long career in MLS or USL, or saying, you know what, got this master's to fall back on. It's not a bad trade-off. So
Exactly.
what did you graduate with a bachelor's in?
I graduated with a bachelor's in business analytics.
Okay.
So my master's is kind of just honing those skills and fine tuning them, really.
Not a bad way to spend the spring semester. If everything had to go this way, you've got one degree done, you're working on another, you get to enjoy playing in your senior season, but you're doing it, and I say but not in a negative connotation, but you're doing it with someone behind you who isn't Elliot Panico. And that, of course, when he graduated, went off, was drafted in the MLS by Nashville, everyone's saying, all right, he's kind of been, the backbone. Like, you knew who was going to be in goal for this program for years. And then it became well, who's next? And of course, the starter for the Duke game was Clemson transfer Daniel. How do you say his last name?
Cruz Mecca.
Cruz Mecca. I'm sorry, Daniel, if you're listening to this. I promise by the time we have you on this podcast, I will know how to say your last name. But what is it like having someone brand new back there?
Yeah, it's definitely a different experience. I think Daniel and another fifth-year senior like me, Austin Mullins, they're neck and neck with the spot. Daniel obviously played incredible against the Duke game. It's definitely been a new experience not hearing Elliot yell in my ear constantly. He was a great friend and a great mentor, not just on the field, but off the field. So it's definitely a different experience not having him back there. But a new experience is a new challenge. And I think whether it's Austin or Dan, I think there'll be a good fit back there behind me.
And of course, he earned Conference USA Defensive Player of the Week, and now we have to dive into the accolade side of things. So I'm going to read off some stats about you, which of course we know, 2016, true freshman year, red shirt. Then we're going to jump forward to 2018, 5 goals, 2019, 4 goals. You started 53 of your 54 games for the 49ers, and you were part of a defense that only allowed 14 goals in 2019, which we say 2019, it feels like a lifetime ago, but really it's just last season. So last season, and that led Conference USA, produced 8 clean sheets. 4 of those clean sheets were in conference play. 3 goals were allowed in conference play, which is quite an accomplishment. But now, all of this has, of course, earned you numerous accolades over the years, including being named to the MAC Hermann Trophy watch list, one of 34 players nationwide. So when you think about that award, what comes to mind, or who comes to mind?
Um, Definitely the team. Honestly, I mean, I couldn't do it without the team, and especially the players around me. I don't think it's not just one person, especially in the back four. It's the keeper. It's our Luke Johnson, DeLacy. It's our outside backs. It's my fellow center back, Sean Suber, Cal, when he was here. It's the 2 center mids that stop most of this, rough up most of the stuff in front of us. It's the forwards chasing down lost causes, the goalkeeper, making big time saves when he needs to. It's the whole team. I'm definitely super excited and glad I could have that accomplishment, but there's no way I could do that without my team or the coaching staff that has helped us.
So, of course, this is something that won't be announced for a number of months. Is it something that's kind of in the back of your mind, or is it something that you just say, you know what, treat it like it's any other season, the award doesn't exist, and just go from there?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's definitely not in my mind. Obviously, it's really exciting to be in that list, and it's definitely a great accomplishment, but it hasn't been decided yet. So you can't really think about that. Just like you don't want to think about rankings and where we are. It's just one game at a time. Just keep trying to improve, and things will fall into place. Is what I always try to think about.
Well, we will certainly be here to harass you as things continue on throughout this season. But the off the field side of things, of course, we love to harass you about the game. But whenever that next step comes and you take your adventure toward bigger and better things, people are going to say, "All right, so who is Patrick Hogan? What does he like to do aside from soccer?" So tell some people something about you that has nothing to do with the game. Or if you're like me and everything has to do with the game, that's fine too.
Sorry, say that again. It kind of broke up.
Oh, no, you're fine. So, what is something about you that you like to do that is completely unrelated to soccer?
I do like to play golf. I think it's extremely relaxing. I'm not the best at it, so it can be definitely frustrating at times. But I like to get out on the course. It kind of calms my head, and it's extremely fun when you. A lot of the guys play golf on the team, so going out with them is a great experience. And my brother, my dad both play golf, so that's extremely fun. And I do like watching movies. I'm a big movie guy, as many of my friends know. So, um, yeah, those are probably the 2 biggest things.
Favorite type of movie?
It's definitely action, no question. No
Any good
question.
action movies coming up that you've got your eye? Well, I mean, no movies are truly coming up, but what are some of your favorites?
That's a good question. I'm big into the Harry Potter series. Contrary to a lot of people's belief, I think they're amazing. I do enjoy all the Fast and Furious movies, and that's a new one coming out that I'm pretty excited about. Me and a couple of guys on the team, we go through the Fast and Furious together, and we're pretty like we've seen the last 2 that come out, so we're pretty excited about this new one. Um, and yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't really have a favorite besides those.
Pretty good choices to have, but
Yeah.
you mentioned the golf side of things. Preferred club, and where's your favorite course?
Ooh, that's a good question. So I've only played on a couple courses. I think um, I played on Pine Lakes. I used to be a member at Pine Lakes Country Club, which is kind of over in Mint Hill.
Mhm.
Um, and I grew up on that course. I learned how to play golf on that course. So I think that's my favorite course, to be honest. And I would say my driver.
It's the
I'll
best one. It's the most fun.
just crush it. Yeah, exactly. Putting is by far my least favorite.
Hmm.
I'm not. I don't have the putting touch, but driver, I like to just smash it.
Yep. I'm not so much a fan of the wedge. I mean, chipping and I we're kind of getting there. Like we're friends
Yeah,
now. We're not best friends, but we're definitely closer than putting. But I mean, the driver's just it's the best. It's the most fun.
putting's by far the hardest.
Oh
By far
yes.
the hardest.
Oh yes. All about that short game. But in the
Exactly.
meantime, in between time, keep up obviously the fabulous progress with the golf game and much success with the rest of the season, interesting as though it may be. And of course, always thank you for your time and for letting us bug you on this episode of Sports Charlotte. Hopefully, we'll have you on again at some point in the not too distant future to discuss whether it's heading toward national championship or the next phase in your professional steps, whatever it may be. I'm just putting those things out there now.
Cool.
We'll let the universe take care of it.
Both those are really cool. Yes, thank you so much for having me. It was awesome.
Absolutely. Well, hey, everyone, make sure that you head over to thecharlottepost.com/news/QCFC. That's where you get all your Queen City Football Chronicle content. Why football? Well, because I'm stubborn and I insisted on calling it football instead of soccer. But that's another episode for another time. And you can always sign up to our newsletter, which comes out every Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. Now that 49ers men's and women's soccer is in season, you will get not just Charlotte FC and Charlotte Independence content, you get all sorts of fabulous 49ers content every week. So go do that. Patrick, again, thank you. And until next time, I'm your host, Ashley Mahoney. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so